Reverend Elizabeth Howell, and this is Psychic Sushi. And welcome back, joining us again for another week of interesting things that are happening. So today we have a special guest, and she's been a dear friend for a long time, and her name is Psychic Sonya or Sonya Horstman. And Psychic Sonya has been well known in the Cleveland area for years, and she hosts the Cleveland or Haunted Tours.
Haunted Cleveland Tours.
Haunted Cleveland Tours. And not only that, but she is a ghost investigator, she is a phenomenal tarot reader, she is a helper, she helps people who have problems with ghosts or entities and whatever else, whatever goes on, hauntings. So we're going to talk about what are hauntings, what Sonya does, how she got into this, and even more. So Sonya, welcome to Psychic Sushi.
Well, thanks for having me. Hello, everybody. I've known you a while, and it's nice that we have psychics that actually like each other, and we get along, and we have
Yes.
we're part of a sisterhood. Because all the good spiritual people are like sisters. We're all like a community.
We are, and we try to support one another.
Yes.
And I've known you since you've been a neighbor, and
Yeah.
you know, you lived around the corner from me.
I did.
And then you did end up moving away, but it was really fun to have a psychic friend around the corner.
Yeah.
And you've been working, and you work occasionally at the psychic fairs I put on, but your main work you do, describe what is your main work
I
you do?
I feel that I have a responsibility since I have a gift. I'm a seer. I can see spirits. I can communicate with spirits. So I think my main responsibility is to help people with their ghost problems.
So somebody
maybe
has
like
a problem, let's say someone has a problem in their home. They have like a haunting and their children are waking up. So you would be the person, when someone says, hey, you need to get hold of somebody to get rid of that.
Yep.
You would be the person, right?
Yep, I'm the one you call.
You would be the call.
I'm
Absolutely.
in some terms they call it a banisher. I'm a banisher. Exorcist would be more of a Catholic Church term,
Right.
but as a banisher, I'm kind of like a new age social worker. I help people with their ghost problems. I help the ghosts with their people problem, and there is a big difference between a human spirit and what we would call an earth spirit. There's lots of different types of spirit, but my specialty is the people who've died and have a trouble crossing over. The people who have died, they have a choice. You have a choice. You can either stay here and you become earthbound, and then you got problems. Or you can move on into the light and where you're beckoned, where you're met with those you've loved who are there to greet you when you die, and they beckon you and they summon you, and so you're not afraid. Some people don't want to go into that tunnel of light. I mean, if I see a guy with a long gray hair and a beard and a robe and he's going like this to me, I might not know who he is. I might not go to him. But if I see my grandmother or my grandfather, I'm certainly going to make that journey.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So you've got I know you for a while, and I know that you have had an interest, but what got you started in this?
What got me started? Well, I'm 55 years old now, but 50 years ago, I lived in Medina, and there was a ghost in our house. She had been wrongly murdered next door. They ruled it a suicide or an accident, and she was upset that it was ruled that, and she bugged everybody. And of course, being a seer as a young age, I didn't go to psychic school or anything. This was something I was born with. She would bother me, and so on Christmas Day, for the first time, she talked to me. And we were sitting there opening up presents. I clearly remember the room, the vision. She was sitting at the end of the stairs watching, and I said to my mother, why is this lady here? And of course, she always shushed me. There's no ghost, stop it. There's no ghost, there's quit. I'm one of 8 kids, Shh, stop. And I turn and I look at the ghost, and she says, for the first time, she says to me, and I can understand it, oh dear, she says, oh dear, you're the only one who can see and hear me.
Oh.
So it started at age 5 that I realized. Now, my oldest sister, who was also very much a psychic, but she's now dedicated her life to the church. She's very psychic like me. She pulled me aside at 5 years old, and she taught me a prayer to keep me safe. And it really has helped me from keeping attachments or something getting too scary. It keeps me from things closing in on me or attaching itself to me or touching me. And if I may share the prayer.
Oh yes, please do.
It's a prayer that I learned at 5 years old to keep me safe from any unwanted contact. I announce the safety of the white light. I invoke the safety of white light just by a simple prayer. I say, the light of God surrounds me. The light of God is within me. And the light of God protects me.
Oh.
And then I add, blessed be the light of God, as an announcement. And literally, I just felt something kind of pull that way, push that way. Something that might have been listening in the studio just kind of went that way. But it forms a protection of light around you. Yeah, there is something here.
There is something here.
Yeah, and it just walked that way.
we talked about this. Yeah, and so see, it takes a psychic to know. You know, we felt that there was a spirit here, and you know, and there are people, you know, who are not sensitive, but yet and they have problems. You know, once a week I get a phone call about, you know, someone having a haunted home or a business, and
yeah, you've actually turned me on to a few people that needed some help, and not that you can't do it, but I've done so much of it, and I have what's called good duration. If I have to hang in there 6 hours at a place, I will. I mean, if I have to do an all-nighter, I have a way. I know I can get it done. I'm 99% germ-free. You know, like I know I can get rid of it, but there's that one tiny percent that sometimes I need to keep going back.
Yeah.
I have a couple cases like that where it's like regular extermination. I have to go back and keep going back and keep going back. So with the hauntings and ghosts,
so you describe what you would say a true haunting is in someone's house. If someone says, I think my house is haunted, you know, describe what a true haunting would be like.
Well, I think obviously they would be all different, but the most common type of haunting is the one where the kids are playing with Ouija boards, or the kids are playing seance or Mary Mary in the mirror, or they're playing witchcraft, dumb stuff.
Yeah.
It attracts spirits, and these spirits will come to them like a moth to the flame, and then you have something that's attracted, and now it's in your house. So you'll have the people who are sensitive to the house might hear voices. I think the spirit will draw energy from you. It'll try to scare you, or try to bewilder you, or try to start fights in the house, or they'll move stuff. Sometimes they'll bother the animals. Your dogs, your cats won't. It's not the same as if they're staring at the wall, because there could be a bug behind the wall. But if you have a dog that literally is raising its hackles and attacking something that you can't see, you got a problem. You know, if it's really getting mean, something that's staring in a wall is not a sign of a ghost. But people will have different degrees of contact. Some people literally can get touched, you know, and when they start touching you, it's an unwanted touch, and then you've got a problem, because that's crossing a line. That's being very bold. They're going to come up and actually grab you. You definitely don't want a stranger grabbing you. You certainly don't want a ghost.
So you think that something can be attracted? Could something also be like stuck in a home? Like you said, you were in a house where you grew up that was haunted. That was from a lady from next door, but she was obviously in that house. Yeah,
well, I don't know the story completely, like if that was actually her house, but I think she fled from the gun shop next door to my house. My impression from her was she would walk up the set of stairs, and her husband would be counting money or whatever he was doing, and she was supposed to knock once, and then he would know it was her, and he would open the door. Well, my mom and dad, when they rented that place, they would hear somebody walk up the stairs and knock once, and they'd open the door and there'd be nobody there. So I think what happened was she was in real lifetime, she walked up the stairs, and then she didn't knock at all, and he blew her, the gunshot, he claimed that he was cleaning the gun and it went off and it went through the door and killed her.
Oh my.
He thought he was getting robbed. He heard somebody walk up the stairs, did not hear the knock.
Okay,
so they ruled it an accident, but she feels like she was killed, like that was on purpose.
So she was restless.
She's mad.
Yeah.
She's angry.
And also ghosts can be attached to objects, right? Like
Absolutely.
someone who goes antique hunting,
even
or
crystals, your rings, even anything, a building.
Yeah, like, or you know, let's say you go garage sailing or go to an estate sale and you bring home something, and then all of a sudden you're having a ghost issue, right? I mean, they can be attached to objects, right?
Yeah, I say get rid of it.
Well, it's a nice expensive bed. Why should, no, I'm just kidding.
I mean, the common thing is to put something in a bag with some sea salts and shake it up and maybe leave it there for a while to help it absorb the energy, but you can't do that with a grand piano.
Right. Right.
You can have a bag big enough to do that.
Yeah. So
I just say it's sometimes it's better just to let it go.
right. Yeah,
Why? Because sometimes attachments are very hard to break.
So the people, the objects, obviously you got to be careful bringing home objects if it's from, an estate sale and there's somebody who's really angry that you bought their sterling silver or something.
Or somebody could have been murdered. And that jewelry was pawned.
Yeah, I see.
Things like that. There could be
Yeah.
a lot of bad juju attached to something.
So then there's part of what you do, the tour, and you take
Yes.
people around. Now you go to haunted locations.
Yeah, now this is how I make money. I mean, that's the way, let's just say it. I put my hobby or my skills into a business, so I tapped into the Halloween business. And I do take people around to authentic haunted places such as theaters, an old railroad museum. Oh gosh, we go to cemeteries, we go different buildings and different places that are truly haunted, some bridges, places where the torso murderer had dropped some bodies, and it's pretty intense there. And so I give them the history of the place, and then I give them the alleged hauntings or the sightings. And I also include pictures. Sometimes I get great pictures of these places. So people go on tour with me, and they get off and on a luxury bus. It's not just sitting on the bus sightseeing out of a window. You actually go in and out. This is my 18th year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is 2018. I'm in my 18th year.
Time flies.
Yeah.
Wow, 18 years, and
Yeah.
you've had success with this.
Yeah.
It's been a long-standing, fun event for people to go and do. And and Sonya brought us some pictures too.
I did. I brought
so-
some pictures, and people on the tours. There's 50 people with cameras, and they're all taking photos. And
Yeah.
I've been blessed with. You want to see a couple?
Sure, I would
Okay.
love to see a couple pictures.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead
this
and
one actually was
explain.
published in. It was published in a book by John Kachuba, and this is in the basement of the old Coopertown restaurant, which is in downtown Cleveland on East 9th. It's across from the ball field. And at the time, I felt this woman behind me. And I put my hand out like this, and I said, "Susan, take the picture now." She's standing here. And you can actually see, now this is what you call a reverse negative. And you can see the hand coming through my body. If you look very closely, you can actually see the outline of her behind me.
Oh yeah,
this
and
is
I can
the
see the
famous-
hand really
Clearly.
clearly, there's a hand.
So my tip is sometimes you have pictures taken in the dark. Don't forget to take those really dark pictures that you took and throw them into a reverse negative on your computer, edit them into a reverse
Oh.
negative. This is why it's reverse negative. You sometimes can see things better.
Okay.
And so I did it in the reverse negative because the other way would be a very dark picture.
Right.
But definitely was something. Now this little bag that I had held a quince seed. And everybody thinks that if you have a quince seed on you, nothing can touch you. And I'm telling you, it's not true.
Yeah.
I wore a quince seed for years, and things touch me all the time.
Right.
But it's proof that they can come right up to you, and actually it was a full-bodied hug, and I just went, "Oh, take a picture now, take a picture now." So this is one of the rare times we actually caught something on film. And then, again, this was the basement of what we used to call the Local Heroes or the old Cooperstown restaurant. It's right across from Progressive Field, the ball
Right.
field, and right next to the cemetery, the Erie Street Cemetery on East 9th, Cleveland, Ohio.
It's very haunted too. And
Now
that's
this was
interesting.
taken by a person on my tours.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because I would consider this more or less a more scientific example because it's something that's film and it has been unaltered. I mean, although you put it into
Absolutely.
reverse negative, but here we have some proof of something actually right there that she's feeling and talking about, and then here we have something that's physical evidence, which
Now,
I think
if I was to get some type of scientific proof, Kodak Labs has agreed, and I think it's in Texas. The Kodak lab, the main labs, will take negatives and things and will make comments
cool.
about pictures. So it hasn't been verified scientifically yet by Kodak Labs, but I would say that yes,
Yeah.
I was there. I experienced it. There was witnesses,
Interesting.
and it also made it into book, John Kachuba's book. This is
Cool.
one pretty good picture.
It is.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Oh gosh, I got a couple. I have to sort through them.
Well, she's had done this for many years, so I'm sure a lot of people have presented pictures to her. And
Yes. Okay, famous house. Famous
Oh.
house in what we call Ohio City. Now, this is Michelle Bensick's photo. She gave me the permission to use this. This is the famous Franklin Castle,
yeah.
and it's in Cleveland, Ohio. And it actually shows the spirit used the coloring the coloring actually was magnified or actually reflected in its energy right here. The ghost's face is right here.
Oh,
and
I
the
can
energy
see
of
it.
this tree, now this is not a ghost here.
Right.
This is actually a face, and I have a blow up of his face. Now there actually
Yes.
is,
Oh, I can see it here.
I apologize
So,
for
yeah.
that. There actually is a fence, an iron fence. So
Yeah.
I was doing something you probably shouldn't do, but because of the iron fencing there, I feel like we're protected. I started yelling at Hans Tiedemann, like, your house smells, your house is stinky, there's been death here, and witchcraft, they're playing witchcraft, because they were goofing around with witchcraft in there. And I said, shame on you, this house, like, how could you let this house, like, not provoking in like a bad way, but more of like a shaming way.
Right.
And he appeared.
Yeah, boom.
And all the
yeah.
other photos show no, there was nobody else there. So if I can point out his close-up, down here would be his mouth.
Yeah.
Around here is the top of his head.
Uh-huh.
You actually can see an ear right
Yeah.
here, and you can see some eyes,
Yeah.
nose and mouth. If you can
Wow.
get a close-up of that, I'll hold real still. But this is the original, and this is the blow-up. So this is actually proof that ghosts will, the colors of the orbs and the colors of the energy of the ghost, I don't think there's a real significant meaning. We want to put a deeper meaning in it. I just think they reflect the colors around them.
Oh.
If you have a lot of
I
blue in
see.
your ghost, they might be reflecting something blue around them.
Yeah, but that's definitely,
You know.
you can see the face. Interesting.
And there was nobody on the tour, nobody around that looked like him. This was in front of the Franklin Castle a couple years ago. Now this one is probably my creepiest. Now I have to disclosure, if you have nightmares because of this, I'm sorry, I'm not responsible. Go take a sea salt bath and
right.
go confess or something. If
Oh,
you're,
the Farnham Manor.
this is the Farnham Manor, and this
Yes.
this is a prime example of, I tell people, if you see an orb in your picture, it doesn't necessarily mean that that is a ghost. I think the orbs are protective. But there was something there above the photo here. And I always
Yeah.
say, when you see these, blow them up. Blow your pictures up. Look further into your pictures, because she caught the ghost under the window. This is not a moon. This is actually a roof. This was actually a big orb between the photographer and what was there. And if you blow it up, you can actually see a shadow of a little girl right here under the window.
Oh.
So when you see these bubbles and these orbs, blow your pictures up. Blow them up. Look farther. This is a little girl that drowned in the well in the property there in Farnham Manor. This was taken by Tammy Fisher. I'm not sure if I have the date. The girl's name is Emily. This is actually the carriage house of the Farnham Manor. She's standing under the window.
Wow.
Pretty creepy, right?
Yeah, that's neat.
That gives people chills. People say, okay, I'm done. Goodbye. I'm done. They don't want to do no more with me
I
when
don't,
they do
I don't
that.
know, nor tours.
So
Well,
this
people-
is, so you know, when you see that, blow your pictures up and look further. How many people have blown through their photos and don't even
Right.
look closer?
No, they don't.
Everybody's going to go home and look through their photos now. This is probably one of my better pictures, also taken by my friend Tom Benjock's aunt. And what I do is I have everybody come into the backstage door of the Agora Theater in Cleveland on Euclid and 55th, the newer
Yeah.
Agora. And I say, everybody get on stage, and I'm going to get on stage last, and I'm going to point to where all the people are sitting. Because every time I come into this theater, there's a bunch of ghosts sitting in the seats. So I
Wow.
pointed up to the corner, and 20 people out of my 50 got the same photo, only one shared it with me. And you can actually see people with hats.
Yes.
You can actually see faces, and
That's-
if you look really close, spectacles.
Yes.
And there's people sitting, and this is the upper, if you were on the stage of the Agora, the main stage, looking up at the seats at the very
That's-
upper balcony right
see it.
is where that is.
Wow, that is cool. Mm-hmm. Wow, and that's
taken
again,
2000s.
that's on your tour where you take people.
Yeah, these are
and-
not my photos. My
these
photos I don't share with people because nobody would believe them.
Well, you could have shared them here on this
no,
show.
shared.
Oh.
I've never shared my collection with people because people would think they were staged. I
Ah.
got like, and a lot of my home photos too have like the inside of my house or have like pictures of my kids.
Yeah.
And I don't, and I'm just like thinking there's something there, and I'm snapping photos, and there it is, and I just, because of my children, I don't want to share the photos.
Right, I understand that. Yeah. So
Okay,
one
last
more.
one. I mean, I've got a whole bunch more, but this is a typical example of a shadow figure. This is the Gray's Armory in downtown Cleveland, and this person was standing at the end of the bar. And there is commonly a figure of a soldier with a weird hat seen on this area here. And I did try to take different lighting scenarios. I did try to flash onto the columns, trying to find different ways to see if I can get a shadow on that set of stairs there. and they caught something on the stairs. And this is the famous soldier of Gray's Armory, and here's the blow up of him.
Okay, yeah.
On the stairs. So that's
some kind of shadow.
That's what a
definitely.
shadow figure looks like on a stair. They're not as clear cut as me and you, but they represent themselves as a shadow. They're the absence of light is darkness.
Yeah.
So they're not real light people. They're really dark figures. And this guy walks all around the Gray's Armory.
Oh, wow.
So that's what you would find. This is just one of a few of many photos I've gotten on my tours. You know.
Yeah,
It's a lot of fun,
awesome.
and it's a good time. We don't promote alcohol. We don't promote little kids. We want the like-minded paranormal adults to all come on the tour and have a good time, and I show you a good time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And people love that. They really enjoy and you always have a good time. I mean, people have a good time with Sonya. I know that. So you've been doing this for 18 years. You also do.
Well, I've been doing this longer than 18 years, but the business Haunted Cleveland Tours I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
But I've been doing ghost hunting and private investigations for people pretty much all my life.
Yeah, private investigations. You come into people's homes, you help them out, and and there are a lot of people that need that help. I mean, and they maybe don't understand what's going on, and they don't want they don't want to admit they have a ghost, or they don't want, but their children might be seeing things, or they might be hearing stuff, and they have a hard time going, "Hey, I need help." Yeah. It can be a little discerning, and like we have that example, like at a place that I work out of at Cool Beans, that we have there are 6 or 7 ghosts.
There is,
and
they're
horrible. And we had one throw a knife at a girl who works there.
Yes.
And the daughter of the owner. I mean, it's just, and I don't have the time to clear it out. We got rid of 2.
You know what happened to us in that Cool Beans? I was on a ghost walk. I also do walking tours in Medina.
Right, in Medina.
And I had a group, and the owner is gracious enough to just let us open up the basement door. We're not allowed to go down there because of insurance purposes.
Insurance purposes,
but
absolutely.
We opened up the door, and I said, "Hey, I've got the keys to the jail," because that was a jail down there. I says, "Come on out, we got the keys, we're headed out the door." And honest to God, in front of all my guests, this purple orb came floating out of the basement.
That's that woman.
And then she's purple?
Her name is Patricia. She's purple.
There's a lot of you just put some pieces together for a puzzle for me.
Okay.
I don't know why she was down there, but there was this purple orb, and it shot over the heads of everybody, and everybody ducked, and it was like Scooby-Doo and a bunch of people trying to get through the hallway at the same time. They were all stuck in the hallway. They couldn't get out. They couldn't get out. We were they're professional ghost hunters.
Right.
But we saw that come out of the basement, and of course nobody had a camera going.
Yeah,
they just
at that time. Oh well, we've had
so fast.
Yeah, we've had, and it does. Medina is extremely
it's haunted.
So and you meet, is it Wednesday nights?
Wednesday nights we meet on the square.
And
if there's something going on the square, then we meet over at the little water fountain.
Yeah, and you start that up in September, right?
They've been going on. I've been doing them.
Oh, you're doing them even now.
I mean, if anybody wants to go on a ghost tour now, I'm advertising Wednesday nights in Medina.
So
if you want to go,
come down to Medina on a Wednesday. Great. Well, we'll make sure we put that up so you can check that out, because
and
it's fun.
I also, for people in Cleveland, I do ghost tours on Thursday nights.
Okay.
So I do a walking tour.
Oh, you're still doing that.
The walking tour is nice because it's not a big long bus. It's only 2 hours.
Walking tours are nice as long as you aren't handicapped, and we can't do that.
Yeah.
But I talked to a lady who is a crane operator, the bridge operator.
Yes.
And she has seen you walking on the tour.
Yep.
She's had so many stories to tell me. She told me all these different stories.
Do you know her?
I do know her.
Because she replaced the last guy, worked there for 30 years.
Yes. Yeah.
And on the last 2 days that he worked, we had a bus tour. And he actually gave us a ride. He goes, "They can't fire me now. You guys want to go for a ride?" So we got on the Columbus Street Bridge.
Right.
And he let us go all the way up. We got the best pictures, and then all the way down. Of course, I was terrified. I realized I don't do well with heights. And for 2 days, Friday and Saturday bus, he let us do that. And he says, "They can't fire me." And he would tell me all kinds of stories also.
She has them too.
Me too. I'll have to stop. Please have her call me.
I'll have to.
I would love to get some more stories from that place.
Because that's also where there was a train wreck,
Yes.
a passenger train that went in Cleveland.
Yep.
100 and some people died. Yep. It was like
the horses that pulled the fire engine were going too fast one time. They couldn't stop the horses, and the horses and the fire engine also went in the river.
Oh.
right there because it was up. Suicides, all kinds of stuff
Oh yeah,
happened there.
yeah. Down that flats area is really so.
Yeah.
That would be a fun walking tour
Yeah.
to go on.
That's
That
kind
would
of a
be
creepy
fun.
bridge.
It would be creepy.
It's a creepy
So
bridge.
yeah, that's fun to do. It's
Yeah.
fun. And
I'm gonna go down to the powerhouse and.
well, people like to be scared.
You know, people do get scared, and it brings me to a point of people get themselves all scared. They watch these ghost shows.
Oh.
They watch all this, and let me tell you, it's Hollywood. It's not all real. A lot of it's staged. I've done
Right,
TV.
it's
I
staged.
did a show called Haunted History, where we focused on the torso murder. It's on History Channel too. You can find it online, Haunted History. I worked for a week to get 15 minutes on the show. So they make you say things. There's a lot of scenarios. They make you repeat things, and they piece and part it together for Hollywood.
Right.
You know, so it's not. Don't believe everything you hear. I mean, the guy that has the adventure show or something, his EVPs are all the same voice. No offense, but no offense, Z, but it's like all the same voice. And
So you can't base, all from television.
Yeah, don't base it from what you see on television. A lot of that is embellished.
Absolutely.
I'm sure a lot of it is okay, but they have. I mean, 99% of the time we go ghost hunting, nothing happens, right?
Right.
You know.
So yeah, it's very rare that you have all that
I want to tell you
activity.
a funny story about a lady. She had herself all upset. She swore she had a hag in her house. She had something that would howl outside her window, and the one side of her house it would howl. She was so scared. Comes to find out, she was one of those people that faithfully watched all those shows. She had herself all upset. So I said, well, call me when this happens. I want to hear it. So through the phone, I do a bit of remote viewing, and I'm on the phone with her, and sure enough, I hear this woo, woo, woo. I'm like, what the heck is that? I'll be right over. So I drive all the way to Solon. Mind you, there's a storm. I drive all the way to Solon. I get there, and I'm like blank. There's nothing in the house. My spidey senses, zero. I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing any of the little electrical blue sparks that I see. I'm nothing.
Yeah.
And I go outside around the side of her house, and where her garbage cans were, and she had a collection of Coke bottles that were filled with water certain levels, and the wind was blowing over the bottles. Going,
debunked. Debunked.
90% of the time I go someplace, there's an answer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was very embarrassed and gave me gas money and a donut or something, and I got my way. But yeah, that kind of stuff does happen.
Yeah, and you can't get yourself worked up over those things. Absolutely. But for a person, who would want to better understand some of the differences, we know that there's a big difference between someone who has a relative that has gone into the light, that's crossed over, like let's say grandma, and she comes and just has a quick visit with you to tell you she's okay. Mm-hmm. And then there's where you're hearing knocking and doors are opening and stuff. So what is the difference with that? Explain the difference a little bit so people can get a better understanding.
I think we all have a different opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're asking mine. I believe that when you die, when you cross over and you go into that next dimension, you do not carry with you the human You do not carry mental illness, anger, jealousy, depressions, addictions and things. That's a human element. That does not go with the soul. So that spirit goes and carries on without the human element. Those are the spirits that come and check on you, like you were saying. Your grandma comes on you. Those are the ones who've crossed over.
Right.
The spirits that do not cross over, they are the ones that still have mental issues and depressions and angers and I'll haunt you and my stuff and my place and my person and my dog and they are the ones that will be more prone to fits and have emotion and they're scary. Where grandma comes and visits, there's no scariness. So there's a big difference, and some people can't tell the difference. I would say to you that if you dream about somebody that's crossed over, they're safe. They're safe. If there's dreams, they're okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll feel almost like a hug or presence, and you'll know that that's somebody that's visiting you or trying to comfort you.
Right, or you can smell a perfume.
Yes.
Or maybe they smoked a cigar and they're just kind of letting you know you smell a little bit of a cigar.
Yeah.
But it's a warm, comforting feeling if it's, let's say, grandma. Whereas if it's a haunting or if it's a spirit, you might have, what are some of the other symptoms that you've had people
with a
describe?
ghost, you'll hear more of like scary things. Because you remember, if a ghost, if you've learned anything from Elizabeth, you'll know that a ghost will draw energy from you. They'll suck energy from you, and they're not nice. They're not okay to have around, so they will torture you, or they'll scare you to drain that energy from you.
Yeah.
They'll cause arguments. They'll cause sickness. They'll literally get on you and pinch you and cause physical harm.
Yeah.
They're some of them are so that angry
Yeah.
that they harm people. And
Yeah.
so when you get a ghost, I believe that a ghost or a person that's died, that not crossed over, has an agenda. The longer they've been here, the stronger they are.
Oh.
So I believe that ghosts maybe in Europe that are of Europe, they're stronger than the ones that are here.
Oh.
And you can there's probably a lot more Native American spirits than we realize. There are probably a lot more indigenous spirits, but I think that you have to be around and dead for a long time to be able to gather that kind of energy, that you can do that kind of harm to people.
Yeah, when I was in England, definitely I could feel layers in England. It'd be like there would be a Neolithic kind of native ghost. There would be a Roman ghost.
Yeah.
There would be like a medieval kind of ghost, and there was just these layers to everything. And the most interesting ghost experience I had was in England, and I was sleeping in a home of a friend's, and I was on the couch, and I was jet lagged and tired.
Yeah.
And her dog started barking, and I woke up and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And all of a sudden I got the chills, and I was like, no, it's a ghost. And sure enough, this guard, like Elizabethan guard, comes marching. He comes through one wall, marches through the middle of the living room, and goes out the other wall. Meanwhile, the dog is barking at it. And I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? And I'm like, it woke me up. So the next morning I said to Miriam, Miriam, do you know about the ghost? She goes, oh, that happens every night at midnight.
Oh, wow.
No big deal.
Oh.
She lived, her house is on the grounds of, it was an old Elizabethan castle and prison, and they kept, before they beheaded people, Henry VIII or whatever, that they would be stored at that prison and then shipped down the river to where they were beheaded. And that guard was still there, and that was
making his rounds.
Full apparition, full body apparition. The first time I've ever had one of those.
Interesting.
Full head to toe, and I was just like, oh, you got to be kidding me. You know, I was just like,
can I sleep in another room?
There was no getting away from that crap. I'll tell you, over in England, it's
I get bombarded quite a bit. I get a lot of spirits that need help. Probably what you witness is a definite residual energy type. It's like looping over and over.
Yeah, I felt he was really trapped.
Yeah, and they can't replay, kind of like Groundhog Day. They keep replaying the same scenario over and over, and it doesn't change.
Right.
And what a nightmare to be that way. Some people think it's okay to have a ghost in their house, and I have to argue with you that it's not okay to have a stranger touching your kids at night. It's not okay to have a stranger move your stuff or hide your keys.
Yeah.
You know, or worse, start fires or sexually assault somebody in the house or pester your dog or.
Yeah,
it's not okay to have a stranger in the house, and ghosts really do want to move on. I have a twin sister who is oblivious. She could have a ghost doing this to her nose, and she'd be like, "Oh, there's a gnat in the room." She's absolutely blissfully ignorant, has never had an encounter, is completely blank, knows nothing about paranormal, and thinks I'm silly for doing any of this. She thinks it's silly. She has never had an encounter. I think there's different levels and degrees of people have sensitivity. Why is it that I can see them but my sister can't?
Yeah.
We did have an interesting experience in Medina, and it goes along with, well, why is it that only certain people can see them and others can't? It's a big question for me too. I don't know what the answer is. Some people have sight. So we were all standing in the cemetery. We were talking about the ghost of George Sillett, and he's been seen there. And out of 20 people, these 4 people were going, "Don't you see him? He's right there. Don't you see him?" And we turned and looked, and out of 20 people, only 7 saw him, and he was walking right towards us. And when he realized we were observing him, he jumped behind a tree.
Wow.
And so I'm like, "Drop everything. You guys run that way. You guys run that way." And then the 4 people who were down by the fence, who were not near us, they also saw him. Oh. So it was like 3 people up here, 4 people down there, and we all saw him. Why is it that not everybody else saw him? It's just strange, you know, like it's
it has
hard to explain.
Yeah, well, some people are more sensitive, and I think some people are more sensitive to electronic or electromagnetic energies.
Yes.
And it's kind of like the light waves, radio waves, and electronic energy that goes on. You know, since someone is in spirit, there actually is going to be some kind of, either thermal or electronic energy that's not electronic,
So
it would be
then it's picked up,
electromagnetic.
and then it's picked up in your brain.
And it's picked up in the brain
Yeah.
because some people are just more sensitive.
Wouldn't it be cool if we could make a set of glasses?
Yeah,
Kind of like a 3D glasses, but wouldn't that be neat?
that would be.
I bet somebody's already tried.
They're probably working on it right now as we speak.
They
because
sell
that's
them
what's
at
going.
they sell them at Spencer Gifts, I guess.
Well, you know, you have the thermal, like, you know, with the scientific equipment, like,
Yeah.
you know teams of paranormal investigators that come in with equipment. You work with several of them.
Yes.
You know, work
Yeah,
with just
I'm the
one.
go-to. I'm the go-to person. Most of the teams in Northern Ohio use me, particularly most recently Archangel Paranormal.
Right.
And when they find that they've got on scientific evidence on their equipment, and this is a nasty bugger of a ghost that they can't get rid of with normal prayer or normal thing, then they call me, and then I come in.
Well, that's good that, you know, because that's the other thing that people get when they watch these TV shows, that they see a team come in and they have all, you know, we got this on camera, we got this voice, and they're like, bye.
Yeah.
And they leave.
Thanks for the picture.
Yeah, thanks for the pictures. And the people are going, yeah,
What do we do now?
what about the ghost? and you know, so you don't do that.
No,
You guys don't do that. You guys,
me.
well, not you, but you go in and you say, okay, now we're going to get rid of the ghost.
Yeah, I got enough pictures, thank you.
Yeah.
I got a whole bunch more that I don't even show any
So
people.
because like a lot of people mistaken and they watch the TV and they said, well, you know, I'm going to be stuck with this ghost.
Yeah.
You know?
So what they don't see after the shows is, especially TAPS, like the ghost hunters from, where they were from Rhode Island or Connecticut, those guys actually do employ banishers or people like me to come in. And sometimes it takes more than one, you know, time to go back. Sometimes you have to loosen the grip, and then it takes time to actually kick them out. Sometimes you kick out a couple of the bad ones, and you got a couple of other ones that are left behind that sometimes they hide. It's a process. It's like trying to get rid of fleas. I mean, it takes time.
Well, I remember,
it's like an infection in your house, you know.
Well, I think Louis Charles, I believe his name is. I listened to a lecture of his, and he said, you know, that's someone's grandmother or child or friend or someone's parent, and you don't want them stuck.
Right.
You want to move them on. We want to get them into the light, and that's one. I think that's very important and very imperative.
Right.
So people now know.
Yeah, I don't tell people who their ghost is anymore, and I'm going to explain why.
Okay.
I've got a couple of stories. I'll give you the mild story. I'm reluctant to tell you exactly who it is because it's such an emotional wrecking ball for people. And there was a house in Brecksville, and there was a pond behind the house, and there was a family that was being tormented by a child ghost. It was this child, like they couldn't understand. It was playing with toys, it was bothering the kids, jumping up and down in beds, and giggling and crying and carrying on. And I had to come and take care of the ghost and help it open the light. So I helped with reconnecting with their past and reconnecting with who's there. And he told me he died because he was catching frogs in the pond. And when I said that to the homeowner and the kids, because the kids were there, they had to be part of it, they all started crying and screaming and freaking out. Here, just the year before, next door, was an Oriental family that had a little boy, a little 4-year-old boy that used to catch frogs at the pond with his dad, and we were always telling him, don't go by the pond, don't go in the pond unless Dad was there. So he was going to try to catch a frog without his dad because he was trying to be proud, and he fell in.
Oh.
And
So it was
so
very
this
intense and
family next
emotional.
door never even connected that it might be him. And how awful for them that they found out that the ghost was actually this kid next door who drowned right behind their house. And it was such an emotional trauma for them that I wish I never would have told them.
Oh. It's hard to feel those things out sometimes because you don't know.
You don't know if you should tell them or not. Another time I had a woman, the ghost was standing behind her, and she was this beautiful American Indian, the dress, the beautiful black hair, and just the beauty of the American Indian grandma or mom. She was like a young woman. And I said to her, I says, your mom is here. I see this Native American woman, she keeps saying she's your mom. Get out of my house, you stink at what you do, obscenity is obscenities, get out, get out. Kicked me out of her house, was very dramatic, and I'm like, what I do, grabbed my stuff and ran. The next day she called me with her and her mom on a conference call. She goes, well, I need to apologize to you. She goes, I thought you were full of it because my mom is alive. And then I went and told, my mom made me calm down and then told me the story that I was adopted out of the Navajo Nation.
Oh.
That my real mother was a Navajo mom, and that was the ghost in her house.
Yeah.
And that's how she, not only was she dealing with a ghost, but she was dealing with this Navajo mom that she didn't even know about.
Right.
And so it was real dramatic, and I kind of spilled the beans.
Thing, yeah.
So she apologized to me, but I knew when to run. I knew it was time to run. Right. But sometimes it's hard to be honest with people because you don't know what kind of a trauma after you spit it out, what it's going to do.
Well, and you don't know, and yet, you know, also, I mean, people need help.
Yeah.
And you're helping people, Sonya. You're helping people with situations that, you know, they're not going to have. They think they're crazy, or they
do.
You know, or their brownie leader's not going to come in and help them.
Yeah.
You know, or their girl, you know, or their local grocery store owner is not going to come in and help them. I mean, it's very a specific job that you do.
You know, and the priests shame you into, you don't come to my church very often, or you never bring money to the church, or why should I come and help you? That we've gotten that. Not all priests are like that, but some are that way. They want compensation. They want, well, you need to come back to church. That's why you have trouble with demons. And by the way, they're not demons. Ghosts are not demons.
No, ghosts are not demons.
Ghosts are not demons. We're talking about people who've died, not crossed over. Demons are extremely rare.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out, because there are some people that think that they're everywhere. And no, they are not everywhere.
Demons
They're very
do not
rare.
bother people like you who live in Litchfield. Demons bother the people who can do the most harm in the world. Hitler, look at his eyes, his crazy demon eyes.
Oh,
Jimmy Jones that made all those people drink the Kool-Aid. Applewhite that made everybody's supposed to hop on the Hale-Bopp comet.
Right.
Commit suicide. Now you could see it in his eyes.
Yeah.
Some even say Charles Manson had something, a pact with the devil or something. But I think people who do the most harm.
Yeah.
Now the Exorcist movie, that was based on a little boy of the Kennedy family.
Oh. Oh, I did not know that. That's interesting.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it was not based on just some person in New York.
Little girl, yeah.
It was demons do not harm common people. They don't attach themselves because they want to do harm en masse. They want to make a large.
Right. Well, and it, you know, it's a very rare occasion, but there are very, you know, let's be honest, there are symptoms of someone that's having something more than just a ghost in their house.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you see the red eyes.
Yes.
You smell sulfur.
Yes, absolutely.
That you have violence, scratches, you have violence, biting takes
fires.
place. That is, you know, that's not just a ghost.
Knives being thrown. They particularly love playing with knives or guns. Or fire.
Yeah. And again, that's very rare. Like, you know, that's not a common occurrence.
You'll find blood. That's more often. When people report blood,
yeah,
like different strange places, now they'll find blood. That's another sign that there's something more than a normal ghost. Very rare. I haven't. Personally, I don't do that. I don't do anything like that. I'm more like just the ghost. Thank you. We'll leave the Catholic Church up to that.
Yeah, or Carl, what's his face?
Carl Johnson.
Carl Johnson, yeah. Carl Johnson.
I'm good friends
Name
with
dropping.
Him. Yeah.
Carl Johnson.
I'm good friends with him. Did you know that?
I'm impressed with him.
I'm very good friends with him. He helps me a lot. Actually, he is one of my backup guys.
Oh, really? Because
he recently helped me with an exorcism. There was a little girl pestered by a very, very bad ghost.
Remember when we met him at the conference?
Yes.
And obviously you kept in contact with him.
Yes.
I've been on and off. I've texted him, but he's just very fascinating. So
yeah, he knows his stuff too.
He knows his stuff.
He's really had a good education. He's actually worked with Ed and Lorraine Warren. But I can drop him a call right now if you want to talk to him. He helps me.
Have him come on the show.
Yeah,
we want to have him come on the show.
But he helps people. He's he's taking care of a 90-something-year-old mom right now. But he's not free to travel. Otherwise, he'd be up here probably doing some stuff with me. But when I have real hard cases, I have an Orthodox priest that I use named Father Michael.
Right.
I also have a Carl Johnson, and then I have a Navajo shaman. In my arsenal. And then I have a variety of psychics like you and other people that if I needed light workers, we could get people together. But my goal is to educate people about spirit. My goal is to teach people what to do and what not to do, to keep spiritual, be spiritual. Doesn't mean you have to join a church, just be spiritual. Churches are great, but if you're not comfortable there, Find your own way to be alone with God. Don't let your ego get in the way.
Yeah.
Let your ego step aside and be alone with your God and have your moment in nature if that's what it takes.
Right. Now you talk about the Navajo shaman, and I know you have a friend, and you've taught me something interesting that you do. And occasionally when you're at the psychic fairs and stuff, you do something called Native American hand trembling.
Yes, trembling.
Trembling. And you know, so it's a very interesting technique, and I thought maybe we got a little bit of time left here.
Yeah,
so
you
I
want me
thought
to show you how I do that?
have you show how to do that. Now we're gonna just sit right here. We got to stand up.
We have to stand up to do it. If you want to stand right here where
we'll stand right here, and
let us
then
know if the cameras can catch this.
Yeah. So we'll just stand up, and
so what we'll do is we'll face each other.
Okay.
And what I want you to do is I want you to ground yourself like a set of roots into the ground, like a set of roots. And your backbone is strong like a tree, and your head and everything is all up at the sky. And then put your hands like this. Okay, and then I'm going to have you use my ring. And then I want you to hang on to this. And then I want you to put your hand over your heart. And then look at me, don't close your eyes.
All right.
I haven't done this with you in a long time. Go like this, present your hand. And then what I do is I start to look at you and I start to warm you up. You'll start to feel a heat.
Okay.
And the magnets. And right away your crown crashes through the roof.
Yeah,
you think. And sometimes if all the physical stuff, I think you get like the headaches and the eyes and the heavy head on top of your shoulders.
I can feel
the heavy crown. You're going to sleep so good tonight. So my suggestion for somebody with the heavy crown is self-suggest, so, especially before you go to sleep, so you get that good night, deep sleep. I'm going to sleep so good. I'm going to sleep really good. Okay. Turning off all the channels. No one can reach me. And I want to ask you, one time did you have a black cat?
Yes, I did.
It's still around you. It's still kind of spinning around your feet, making little figure eights around your feet. Yeah, that's too easy to tell a psychic that they've got a black cat, but you still have her around. When you hear scritchy noises, it's her.
Aww.
She's like, she doesn't want to leave your side.
No, she was my favorite cat.
And you have a musician growing up.
Oh.
So this might.
Yeah.
Either is it this one in the room here? Maybe interested in music?
Yeah. He just taught himself to play the piano in like less than a week.
There's like a musician in the room like over here, and I'm feeling your grandson over here. There's a great need to express.
Yeah.
Yeah, song, bellowing, getting it out, expression. Yeah. Anything loud and noisy is really good. Really good for him. So he's auditory. He could be clairaudient if that's the.
I think he is. Yeah.
He'll be hearing things.
Yeah.
When he selectively hears things, wants to hear things. But that's the musician growing up in your life. And I know you have a son named Sean. We have the same birthday. Yeah. Has he got new wheels?
No.
Is he thinking about getting wheels, something with a business on wheels?
Yes.
Is he close to doing that?
No.
He'll get there. Good. He might have that idea, but I'm almost feeling like he's going to be like in a white van. Something white.
Okay.
Like a white van. And then with you, definitely your knees. Something going on with your knees?
They're pretty good, but.
Have you been kneeling a lot lately? Have you been doing gardening or something with your knees?
Yeah, no.
Watch your knees, like watch the actual crunchiness of the knees. I don't know if your mom had bad knees or not.
So far, I think I'll be okay with my knees.
Just watch that. If there was don't think I gave it to you. If you had it, you feel the heat. So the energy, the aura is like little layers of colors all around you, and you can actually feel it.
Yeah.
You have a very generous. There's like a dip, generous with opinion, generous with thought, generous with stuff. You're generous. That's good. You don't hold back. That's for sure. It's a good thing. You should have that. You have any questions for the psychic?
Oh, okay. No, I can't think of anything right now.
Okay, I put you on the spot. What should I imagine think of one?
Will Psychic Sushi become a national television show?
It could. It could.
There we go.
I think it depends on how much work you put on it. It's easy to want it, but you got to,
Yeah, I got to do the work.
Could it or would it? I think it could.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
fun. I could feel the heat. It was
Yeah.
really warm.
I learned that as a child. My brother used to make me massage his back and do stuff with his back. I have an older brother, and I would see the colors on him, and he would feel things that I could like read him and feel things for him.
Yeah.
And he was. I remember being scared about the Vietnam War.
Oh.
Didn't understand what that was, and here it was. He was almost recruited.
Oh.
He had gotten into college just in time. He didn't get recruited. I
Well,
remember
that was a blessing then.
Yes,
for
I was
sure.
a very young girl. Not some of my earliest memories of him was something about Vietnam. But yeah, I can feel things from people and hear things from people.
Yeah, you do. I've seen you work that with people, and
yeah, it's a lot
now
of
I'm
fun.
kind of like, woo.
She's gonna sleep so good.
That lots of energy. So, and you are based out of nearby. You're not far, and then of course you're doing your Medina walking tour. You're doing your
walking tours on
Cleveland.
Wednesday nights. They
And
start
then-
at 7:30.
And then as we get closer to Halloween, you'll be doing your bus tours, and I think that would be fun.
I'm
It's
doing
just-
probably 2 buses this year, and I'm focusing on more like the walks. I'm doing more of a health kick, doing a lot more walks. And then I do dinners and walks where we'll have dinner.
the dinner, right?
The dinner is
Forgot
a
about
presentation. I'll do a dinner, and during dinner I will be presenting a lot of ghost pictures and a lot of stuff. And then we go on a ghost walk instead of a bus.
So dinner
Just saves
dinner
money.
ghost walk.
Yeah,
Sounds
dinner
like
and
fun.
ghost walk.
I think that. So I'm sure
Yeah.
you can check out her website and then
Yeah.
check out some stuff and get more information on those
Yeah.
opportunities coming up, because it would be lots of fun. And
Yeah, HauntedClevelandTours.com.
yeah, we'll
You
put
post
that
it.
up.
Okay.
We'll post that up.
All right, great.
But it's been great, and I'll tell you something. We, people don't. Again, you don't. If you have a spirit in your home, there are people that can help you, and you don't have to be stuck with having a haunted home.
Yeah.
And there are people who are honest. There are people who are not going to try to scam you out of money. There are people who do this because they want to help. And Sonya's one of those people. You have the people who are out there that are shreds, they're fakes,
Yeah.
And I knew a few fakes, and they were really bad fakes. And then when I say
we
bad,
know all
they
the bad ones.
They
We also know all the good ones
yoink.
too.
Yeah, they yoink people for money, and then and then people are like, oh, I paid so much money, and then I still have a spirit.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
I do.
no.
I'm pretty much all around psychic. I mean, I do offer psychic readings at my home. People come for counseling.
Yeah.
I have a regular clientele that come for counseling.
Psychic
and
counseling.
Spiritual counseling.
Spiritual
I guess.
counseling.
Psychic
And you are an
counseling.
ordained minister
Yes.
with the Church of
Radiant Lights.
Radiant Lights.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we can say that.
We can.
We can say that,
because we
and,
both are ordained in the Church
yeah.
of Radiant Lights, and it's a
that is
fantastic church.
And that was a nice study. I enjoyed studying and being part of that community. That was
Joseph.
great. Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while, but yeah.
Things
Hopefully
change and shift.
I've
But
heard.
you can marry people.
Yeah.
You also work because of your
Yes.
minister's license. I know
Yes.
that you do marriage, you do weddings for
Yeah.
people.
And funerals.
And funerals. It's always fun. It's better to marry than to bury, I always
Yeah, I
say.
would rather.
I'd rather.
I would rather. But
yeah.
I do still offer psychic readings, and I do offer ghost investigations for money. We try to raise money for the Variety Theater. So I do
Right.
ghost investigations. I'm going to be also doing some trying to raise some money for the Archangel Paranormal Conference. We're having a conference. It's going to be a paranormal conference to study the effects of dying. We're going to have a group of scientists come in, and we're going to have a conference where they're going to talk about the evidence, like when the soul leaves the body.
Right.
And actually not just from parapsychologists, but
Right.
from actual scientists.
Oh, well, we'll have to
And,
come to the.
yeah.
We'll have to come.
We'll think it's going to be 2020. We're working on it now. But I'm part of the paranormal group that I'm working with, Archangels.
Yes. Yeah.
Paranormal Society is the one that's going to put it on. I'm one of the chair people there. So we're going to be trying to put on a new type of conference, not just, like the Bigfoot conferences or the UFO conferences. It's going to be more of a scientific endeavor.
And we have to add, Sonya is a Bigfoot expert, and she goes
I
out
don't know
into
if I'm
the
an expert,
field,
but
and
enthusiast.
she's an enthusiast. And if you want to go hunt Bigfoot, you call her up. She'll take you out in the woods, and you can look for Bigfoot. And,
I know, that's so silly, but yes, I'm very into cryptozoology.
Yeah,
and there are Bigfoots in Ohio, and my favorite thing to do is go hiking in the woods and look for a Bigfoot.
Yeah, and
it's fun.
We actually, a past show that we had was at the Bigfoot conference. We actually did, and we had, I think we had you on camera.
Yeah, I called it a relic. I called them relic hominids.
It is fun. Yeah. It is lots of fun.
Yeah,
so,
I have Bigfoot, and now I have horses that we take the horses down to the park. So I say, like, I wish I could write this off. You know, these horses. Do I take the horses out?
We'll have to have you come, and we'll talk more about Bigfoot too.
Yeah, I don't have any Bigfoot pictures, but I got ghost pictures.
No such the luck. Conferences are great. They are good conferences to go to, and a lot of people go, "I'm in Ohio. Bigfoot? Really? That's supposed to be out in Washington or whatever."
No, there's Bigfoot in Ohio.
There's actually some hot spots.
And the ghosts, ghosts. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on in ghosts since we've had all these shows on.
Yeah.
You just beware of who is leading you into a ghost investigation. Be careful who you have in your home. Make sure they're bona fide group, and they're not. Some people are going to put a bunch of photos of the inside of your house and your children's underwear or whatever all over the internet.
That's true. You got to be careful.
You got to be careful who you have in your house.
Yeah.
If they're thieves, or you want to bring people who are knowledgeable, have a good reputation. Our investigators are never left alone with a client. Nobody goes into a separate room alone with anybody.
Right.
We're always 2 by 2 in the house, and we're very thorough about what we do. And so if anybody needs a ghost investigation, we do organize that. We do have teams.
Yeah.
What I like to do is I just like to get rid of them. I just want to come in and bless the home, and I do Native American style and also Christian prayer.
No, that's the key, I think, is to. Once we know that there is a ghost, let's get not rid of it, let's cross it into the light.
Yes.
So that it's, they can go home, be with their family.
That's right.
And no longer pull your energy in your home and cause any distress. And it's real. It is real. And you're not losing your mind if you have these problems.
Right.
And, there are people who can help. So,
yeah.
Anytime you want to get hold of Sonya and we'll have her, we'll just say it's, you have a website? You have two.
I have one website. It's hauntedclevelandtours.com. And you can call me. I have a phone. I have an old-fashioned phone.
Yeah, landline, and that number is
440-775-1217. I'm also on Facebook under Sonya Horstman. And I do have an email address. It's psychicsonya@oberlin.net. I live in Oberlin, Ohio.
Right, which is, again, not that far
I'm accessible.
From here,
I mean,
so,
I'm self-employed, so I'm available.
Right. It's 24/7. But,
Thanks so much for having me. I'm honored to be hanging out with you today.
It's great, and we love having you here in Brunswick at the Brunswick Area Television, and I'm really grateful that you came out today on this balmy, wonderful day in Brunswick. So
it's nice to know you.
Thank you, and thanks for coming.
And thanks for all the work you do with everybody. I don't know if anybody's thanked you lately, but thank you for all your spiritual work.
Well, thank you. I love doing the work that I do. So I want to thank everyone tuning in today at Psychic Sushi, and we'll catch you again.